Hello and good afternoon or early morning, I guess. 10:30 still the morning. Welcome everyone to Tattered Cover. We're still doing these virtual events until we can be safely back in person. So thank you for joining us. For those unfamiliar with Tattered Cover, we are Colorado's largest independent bookstore, and we've been around for 50 years. And it's thanks to readers like you and authors like our guests today for supporting us over the past half century. We're currently expanding. We have a new store right next to where the Rockies play baseball in McGregor Square. And we're opening a children's focused store out in Stanley Marketplace in Aurora. So if you are local, please, especially if you're here for this event, check out Stanley Marketplace when it opens in a few weeks. We're making an announcement soon. Before I go any further, there is closed captioning at the bottom of your screen. There's a little black bar that will say CC on it, and you can make that closed captioning if you need it. If you're interested in more events and more story times, please check out tatteredcover.com/event for more author events. Tonight, I am super excited to be today, I am super excited to be introducing Shelley Johannes, who has her debut picture book out, More Than Sunny. She's also the author and illustrator of Beatrice Zinker, Upside Down Thinker, a chapter book series. Shelley, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Tattered Cover.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I am so excited to have a story time. I feel like we've all been cooped up in our houses for a long time. And so I can't wait to hear you read More Than Sunny. Do you want to give us a little bit of what it's about or just jump right into reading?
I'll give you a tiny bit of what it's about. It is a book, here's the cover. It's a book about finding joy in all kinds of weather and how every day has new things to discover when you're determined to find them. So it's kind of about perspective and optimism and finding new things every day.
Awesome. So I'll turn it over to you to read it. I'm going to mute myself and just be in the background, but I'll come on and we'll talk about More Than Sunny after you read a little bit about, or read the whole thing, I mean.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, we are going to read More Than Sunny. When I start reading a book, I like to look at the cover to kind of get a clue what it might be about. And we have on this cover a very enthusiastic girl with her hands up in the air. And then we have her brother here who's not quite so enthusiastic. And then we have their best friend dog, who is patterned after the dog that I had when I was a kid. So I always like to think, why is she so excited? And what's making him not so excited? And are they going to stay that way? So that's what I like to think about before I start a book. Now, here we go. More Than Sunny. Knock, knock. Whose door do you think she could be knocking on? Do you think it looks like an inside door or an outside door? Who could it be? It's sunny and early. There's her brother. Do you ever feel like that? It's just too early to have a good day. Let's see if she can change his mind. Or it's Sunny and Birdie. It's sunny and mucky. I say it's Sunny and Ducky. Does he look convinced yet? I don't think so. She's gonna try again though. It's knock knock. It's sunny again. And now he's playing in his room. I don't know if he wants to be interrupted again, but we'll see if she can convince him. It's sunny and hot. Is that all you've got? It's muggy and buggy. Now he's getting happy. Breezy and buzzy. Summer and fuzzy. It's blue and wishy. cloudy, and fishy. See the fish. It's stormy and stuck. But maybe we're in luck. Do you think it's going to quit raining? Let's see. It's rainy and wormy. Hello, Squirmy. What do you think's going to come next? It's foggy and froggy. Now, soggy and doggy. Hear that? It's windy and squirrely. Is it almost snowy and swirly? It's still early. It's gray and goodbye. It's winter and weighty. What do you wait for in the winter? If you live in Colorado, you don't wait as long as I do in Michigan for this, but what do you wait for? If you know it, you can shout it out. Snow. Can we? Can we? But I'm warm and socksy. Let's be snowy and foxy. It's snowy and doughy. It's snowy and daddy. Are you ready and slutty? Well, it's late and shovelly. Or it's late and lovely. You see what's flying over their heads? An owl. Have you ever seen an owl? I never have, and I hope that I get to one day. It would be awesome if it was while I was lying in the snow. Chilly? Sleepy? It's bedtime. And sheepy. Knock, knock. Who's knocking on the door now? Who could it be? Shh. It's you and me. And I really like the ending because there's so many great things that we can find outside every day, but it's so much more fun when we find them together. And I love that she kind of won him over in the end, and then he was excited to show her new things. And this book is dedicated to my son, Matthew, because when he was in first grade, he was supposed to be working on a weather chart for school, and he looked outside and told me it was sunny and birdy. And then we stared outside at the birds, and then he told me it was windy and squirrely the next day. And so we were looking at the funny squirrels outside, and so he showed me something awesome. And so I just love that this book can hopefully inspire people to go outside and find new things with their favorite people.
You know, I really love that that's the inspiration, because that was going to be my first question about like how do these juxtapositions between like what it is, you know, sunny and squirrely or windy and owly, you know.
Yeah.
And that's such a great way to describe nature and like what's outside. Like I think we forget about the animals a lot of the time.
Yes. And I love how I love when anything, whether it's a kid or something else, can like jar you out of just the same old way that you look at things, because we get used to things and then we no longer feel wonder. And so I liked that I wasn't thinking of the weather as anything interesting that day. It was just a normal sunny day. And he, by just saying, pairing sunny with something else, made the day seem new and exciting. And so I just love anytime anything makes me feel like that. I always think, oh, is this a good book idea? Because whenever I feel that excited about life, when I wasn't a second before that, it feels like something that should be documented.
Yeah, and you have a series outside of this. Did you ever think you were going to do a picture book, or was this just like your son completely inspired something new?
So I actually wanted to, I didn't think I was ever going to do a chapter book series, truthfully. I always imagined, well, when I was young, a kid, I wanted to be a writer and an artist, but I never pictured being able to do those at the same time. And I never thought I was really going to be able to do either one. They both seemed like these big, big dream ideas that couldn't really happen. And then when I had my kids and I started reading picture books with them, I realized, so picture books are words and image together. And so they were always my goal. And Beatrice, the chapter book series, started as a picture book and then transformed into a chapter book. So I always hoped I could come back to picture books. And then my son's thing just was like the perfect way to really enter the picture book world.
And you mentioned how you always wanted to be a writer and an artist. Were you creating stories a lot when you were a kid?
I was. I have a copy of my first book I made when I was a kid, a Pac-Man book. And when I was a kid, Pac-Man was like the video game, like Minecraft or Roblox is today. And my dad owned a computer store, and so I used to hang out there a lot. So it was like the first time I tried exploring a world that I knew and drew pictures and stories to go with it. But I was always, when I was a teenager, I was doing lots of writing of stories. But even when I was younger, I think stories took the form of making up stories for our toys. And when we played veterinarian, I was always the secretary because I liked writing down the name of the animal and the owner and what happened. And like, I like to tell kids that because sometimes being a writer, you're not even writing physical words yet, but you're a storyteller. And so it's all the same thing. I think drawing is storytelling, writing is storytelling, and verbal storytelling. It's all the same.
Yeah, and that's, I love that you just answer my questions before I ask them. I was going to ask like what, so other than, I guess like building on that, what more advice can you give kiddos? I know maybe the ones that are listening with their parents today aren't necessarily wanting to draw, but maybe down the road they'll revisit this video. What advice can you give like a kindergartner, first grader that really just want to tell stories?
I think just go for it and do it and believe that like who you are matters and what you have to say matters, that you don't have to wait till later to tell stories, that you are doing it now and what you have to say is important. Like we need your voice and what you have to say. Like my son made my day better by saying what he said. And I think that happens all the time. And like just for kids to know truly that the thoughts they have matter right now and they're worth sharing. And then just to go for it, draw all the time, keep a sketchbook, make comics, try stories, and just do it. The more you do it, the better you get. And I think the more confident you get that your voice counts.
Yeah, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, telling children and kids and teens their voice matters is so important today. And I love that your story, More Than Sunny, really, it's about sharing and the sister can help change the brother's point of view. The brother can change the sister's point of view. It's so lovely to see. The actual drawing, like what inspires you to create the characters that for them to look like they do? Do they look like your kids? Or are they just completely made up? What are these characters?
I think they are completely made up. And these ones changed what they look like over and over. When I first started, the girl in More Than Sunny looked too much like Beatrice, not on purpose, but just it was a more similar style. And so I was encouraged to find something that still felt like me, but felt distinctly different than that. And so I ended up, I keep a sketchbook. I have multiple sketchbooks, have them all over the place. And so one day when I was working on Beatrice, I took a break when I was at a coffee shop and just was doing watercolors in a little sketchbook. And I happened to draw a boy and a girl that I loved drawing them. And so I drew them again, I am drawing them again, and I just kept drawing them every day. And then I was thinking, oh, I could make them the kids in this book, and then I get to keep working on them. So I feel like sometimes I just find characters by just doodling in a sketchbook. And then when you really land on one that you like drawing a lot, you try to find a story that you can have an excuse to keep drawing them.
And something that fascinates me just about picture books, and before we hopped on the call officially, I was just talking about like, graphic novels for kids and just pictures and books. What's the process like for you? I know we're talking about More Than Sunny, which is a terrific picture book, but you also have your chapbook series with Beatrice. What is it? Story first? Is it animation, cartooning first? Are they really in sync on the page? What's that look like for you?
For me, it is very entwined, and there's not one or the other. It's always like in More Than Sunny, my son said those words first. So in that case, I think the words came initially first. We put a bunch of animals and weather together when he first said that, but that was 8 years ago. And so it kind of existed as this thing without visuals. But then when I started to actually try to tell it as a story that made sense, then it was constant word and image back and forth, back and forth. And when I write Beatrice, sometimes the pictures are leading the story. Like I'll picture something funny and it lets me think of the whole next thing that happens. And so it's definitely a back and forth depending on the time period and the project.
And your son said those words 8 years ago. Were you working on More Than Sunny for 8 years, or it was like an idea? And then what was the time frame for More Than Sunny?
So I wrote down the words and I knew they were interesting to me and hoped one day they could be a book. But at the time I didn't have an agent. I think I had thought of the idea for Beatrice. And so that was the idea that I was most tied to at the time. And so the words for More Than Sunny just kind of sat there for a couple of years. And then I think I did work on it maybe over a 4-year time period in earnest, but I was also working on Beatrice. So I would work on it in pockets of time. And then probably a good year of fairly constant work towards the end. The artwork takes maybe 4 months, the final art, but then you go through so many rounds of every time I make a new version of the book, figuring it out, you're doing art for the whole thing over and over again. So it is a long process, but the process is the joy to me. I love kind of the extendedness of the process.
Yeah. And are more picture books in your future then? Is that something that you still love?
Yes, I still love them so much. And I'm really happy that More Than Sunny was a 2-book deal. So I'm excited that I get to make another book with the same team that made More Than Sunny. So we are about to start final artwork on that second picture book. Probably next week I'll start that.
Oh, so close. Is it a More Than Sunny sequel of sorts, or a whole new idea?
It's a whole new idea. I like to think of them as like they'd be friends. They're companions to each other. They're both about joy and optimism, but different stories.
Definitely. And then with Beatrice, where's her story going? Are there more of her? What's that going to be like?
So Beatrice was a 3-book deal, and so that contract is done. And right now, like I want to never say never to Beatrice, but right now it's wrapped up. There's not more planned, but I did leave book 3 like it has closure, but it also is open. So who knows?
All good books, all good books and movies. We're happy, but hey, maybe. And then so just like kind of just talking about the future, because I love More Than Sunny so much. It was such a treat to hear you read it. More picture books, more chapbooks down the road, or strictly picture books, you think?
I think I'm open to lots of things. I really like being pushed in directions that I had never thought of. Like going into the unknown feels like scary, but I love that feeling of being pushed beyond what you can do. And so I am working on a couple things that are maybe an easy reader, and I'm just open to a bunch of different things because that's fun to me. So
yes, I love to hear that. I think that's what makes life so exciting, is just being open. And that's More Than Sunny. I think that's kind of another message that's part of it. Be open to what's out there.
Yes.
Well, Shelley, thanks so much for taking the time to talk and to read to More Than Sunny. Is there anything else you want to share with your readers and listeners out there?
Oh, just that I hope you guys just reiterate how much your voice matters, and that I hope you have tons of fun reading the book and even kind of extending the book into your own life, that you can make up new pages to this book. Sometimes it's like, I know I myself like a starting point to my creativity. I like if someone gives me a spark of an idea. So if there was a weather or an animal that's your favorite that I didn't include in the book, it would be awesome. You could do your own artwork and make your own page. And if you wanted to share those, feel free to have your grown-up share them with me online. I'd love to see them. But mostly I hope you guys just have an awesome time getting outside and finding new discoveries and being with people you love.
Perfect. And where can all those grown-ups find you on the internet?
All right. Instagram's my favorite. I'm at Shelley Johannes, and Shelley has an EY on Instagram and on Twitter. So those are kind of the two best places. You could also find me on Facebook. And I also have a website. It's just shelleyjohannes.com.
Perfect.
So any of those places.
Well, again, Shelley, thanks so much for reading More Than Sunny and talking about not Shelley, you are Shelley, talking about More Than Sunny and Beatrice a little bit. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And all the readers out there, please check out tatteredcover.com. You can get More Than Sunny. Check out Shelley's website and Instagram. And everyone have a really sunny day out there then.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you, Shelley. Cool. I know that was shorter than I think we said, but I think it was